It took a little less than a month, but Kamala Harris has already tried to subvert the Joe Biden administration and install herself as president. I know everybody's shocked, right? Maybe at the timeline, maybe everybody might have thought that she would have took a little bit longer. It's just not the case anymore because she's taking phone calls from world leaders. These aren't small countries, by the way, that she's talking to. She's talking to Emmanuel Macron, who, it probably has the biggest balls on the list of people that she spoke to as well. Justin Trudeau, don't make me laugh. And the head of the WHO, Tedros, communist. The dude was probably the most violent of the three because he was a lead member of the Ethiopian Communist Party. Don't believe me? Turns out to be one of the top members of the World Health Organization, as a former member of the violent Ethiopian Communist Party. Tedros, last name, middle name, Ghebreyesus. Sure. To be fair, he knows how to get stuff done. Just not stuff that I'd approve of. But, okay, is Joe Biden so busy that he can't take these calls? No, I think we've all noticed that he hasn't done anything past 4:30 in the afternoon. Because there's this fun website that tracks everything that's officially on the record that the president has to do. We looked at this back when Trump held 5 rallies just before the presidential election. Now that it's been updated with Joe Biden, there's a whole lot less that this website has to maintain when it comes to scheduling dates because, they're so starved for information, they're even marking down when Jen Psaki holds a press conference. As you can see for today, Biden had nothing. Friday, he started at 8. Well, he actually worked a full day from 8 until 20 to 6 in the evening. Oh, but he took a significant amount of the day off. He worked from about 9:45 to, noon? Yeah. Well, he had a big day the next day. As you can see, 3:30, 10 to 11, 3:10. Oh, I'm sorry, 20 to 4. He doesn't do anything. You didn't think that he'd have time for, a 20 or 30-minute phone call with Justin Trudeau? They share so much in common. Only caring about certain sides of the country, having a shady past with different women. Biden could have regaled Trudeau with different stories of how his father governed, because Biden was a senator at the time that Trudeau Sr. was Prime Minister of Canada. Let that one sink in. But let's see what the skinny of this is. Vice President Kamala Harris on Monday held her second call with foreign leaders, speaking to French President Emmanuel Macron after a talk earlier this month with as well as with World Health Organization Director General Dr. Tedros in January. Calls boost the former president's role in diplomacy. Yeah, because I don't remember Mike Pence really doing anything at all. The last vice president who was actually prominent, you'd have to go back to Dick Cheney. And he was making phone calls to see where the best place to put a Halliburton office in the Middle East would be. A review of the press notices from Pence's final year in office reveals no readouts of direct call with leaders of foreign nations. Yeah, because Trump was up at fucking 4 o'clock in the morning and not going to bed until, not ending his day until about 6. Because he was constantly on the phone or he's flying out to meet people and making phone calls on Air Force One. So all Pence had to do is just sit there and make sure that his hair didn't fall out of place. Harris expressed to Macron her commitment to strengthening bilateral ties between the United States and France and to revitalizing the transatlantic alliance. Yeah, because the Trump administration was concerned about strengthening ties with a fresh out of Brexit United Kingdom. And this signals a 100% pivot, because if you've been looking at anything that Joe Biden has said about Boris Johnson in the UK in general, it doesn't bode well for a prosperous future there. So they're just trying to shift their way to the failing European Union, because there's nothing more than the Democrats would like to do than to install a North American Union. That's another topic for another day. Harris and Macron agreed on the need to close bilateral and multilateral cooperation to address COVID-19, climate change, and support democracy at home and around the world. And he tried to go on something about Islamic extremism and how that's a problem with the United States, that it's exported to the rest of the world. The dude is fucking nuts right now. He's just knocking out brown people left, right, and center. He is done with this terrorist shit. But yeah. Harris got to talk to the soy-laden fruits, and Biden's already spoke to, yes, United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, Germany, Angela Merkel, Russia's Putin, Japan just got a new leader, South Korea, China, probably to thank them, Australia, and India. And one thing about Modi is he's not too terribly happy with the Biden victory. So yeah, it's not like Harris making phone calls is any sort of a break in tradition. Pence was on the phone with Trudeau once in 2019 and he kind of had enough. Spoke with the Argentinian and Australian leaders in 2017. And in 18 and 19, he made a phone call to Colombia's president, as well as Iraq's in 18 and the Ukrainian leader in 2019. But we all know what this is setting up for. I don't think it's really a surprise to anybody that Kamala Harris is just laying the groundwork, getting the relations ready for when she takes over. I think it's going to be in 2024. She's at least going to run as the Democratic nominee. I think that Biden's probably going to hang around for the full term. I'll be surprised and maybe a little bit sad because I don't want to see anybody, not be able to complete something that they said that they would. And mostly because I'm very fearful of a Kamala Harris administration and who could potentially be her vice president. And if you don't think that that's the case, if you just think, oh, okay, this is just some phone calls to some leaders, it doesn't really mean much. Well, just take a look at when she left the Senate, okay, after they won the election. She waited until the very, very, very last day. And that was in order to make sure that Gavin Newsom elected somebody that was very loyal to her, to Kamala Harris, not to the Democratic Party, not to Joe Biden, but loyal to her, somebody that she worked with before when she was the Attorney General of California, to her vacated Senate seat, how she's gone in on Dianne Feinstein, the other senator from California. We'll see how this plays out, but we need to start looking at different other appointments, at the different judges that the Biden administration puts in. If they are people in California that worked with Kamala Harris and her team, then you know where this is going. And this is not a bright idea. This isn't grooming somebody for the future, somebody who has a bright future ahead of them in politics. You remember, I think Kamala Harris topped out at 3 or 4 points in the primaries. She is not popular. People don't like her, okay? If you believe some of the stories out there that Trump lost the suburban woman, or he lost the suburbs that led to the election loss, I just want you to think. There's evidence out there to suggest this as well from different polling firms. But women hate women. Okay? They will not turn out for Kamala Harris, who has a history of just being a terrible human being. Literally, the only thing that Mike Pence should have done during the vice presidential debate is just run the Tulsi Gabbard clip on loop for 90 minutes. That would have ruined everything about her. And if she's going to be the big head honcho, number one in 2024, you think Trump's going to pull any of those punches? I think it's going to be Trump in 2024. A lot of people out there are saying right now, oh, he's too old. It's going to be Ron DeSantis, or it's going to be Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Nikki Haley. Oh, sorry, couldn't get through that one with a straight face. Do you hear what the McConnell side of the party wants to run as their ticket in 2024? Nikki Haley at top and Tim Scott underneath. I couldn't think of a bigger failure. That right there would make John McCain blush at how bad of an electoral stomping that would be. But for reasons that I've explained ad nauseum at this point, it'll be Trump versus Kamala Harris in 2024. Because you can see even right now, like this is, okay, brutally fucking early to be talking about 2024. But the field right now just looks like the after. I mean, also Rand's. Like, okay, it's everybody that we pointed out to begin with, just without a front runner. Like, apparently Vice President Pence, that's another one I've been warning about for a long time. People have pretty much turned on him. I don't know, maybe, but I just don't like him. I think he's a neocon to the core. Ted Cruz, if he can make it back from vacation in time, he could run in 2024. And Ron DeSantis, who's going to be running for re-election for governor of Florida in 2022. So that's why I'm thinking he's going to be the nominee in 2028. I think that would be a good idea. Okay? Set everything up for him in the next 4 years so he can take whatever 2 years off or something and prep and prime and get ready to go for 2028. I think that's the path that's going to follow, and Trump just needs to come in there and knock all of the shit off the table and start everything from scratch. That's where it seems like everything's going to be leading. But like I said, this is brutally early and we don't know how that's going to shake out in the next 4 years. But any idea that I know I've said this statement before. Any idea that the GOP is going to be heading down the neocon route is, I think, flat dead and gone. Because CPAC has its first official speaker, or one of its first official speakers. Now, if somebody didn't want to get into politics, somebody didn't want to stay in politics, why would they go to the biggest conservative convention and speak there in person? I know Trump said that he was going to take some time off and it would be a minute before he hops back into politics. But Trump to speak at CPAC in first public appearance after leaving office. He's been releasing a lot of those spicy press releases from the office of the former president, which will never not make me laugh. But here we go. Former President Trump will be a keynote speaker at the Conservative Political Action Conference in Orlando, Florida. His first public speaking engagement since leaving the White House, a spokesman for the organization confirmed to the Post on Saturday. Trump is scheduled to speak on Sunday, February 28th, the last day of the conference. Oh, sweet. So next Sunday. Trump's speech will focus on the future of the Republican Party and the conservative movement, and hopefully shitting on Mitt Romney, because we all could use that. Also look for the 45th president to take on President Biden's disastrous amnesty and border policies, and killing off energy independence by yeeting the Keystone XL pipeline. Now, just a little heads up on this one. Trump's not going to be announcing running for 2024 at least I don't think. I think that there's a 1% chance that happens. Watch me be completely wrong. But that's not his style. He wants to keep all of his options open for as long as possible, because if things don't turn out well for the Republican Party in 2022, if they want to go down the Liz Cheney route, the Dan Crenshaw route, the Mitt Romney route, that's their own death. They can deal with that. And in the aftermath of that, oh, guess what? The Patriot Party shows up, and all of a sudden, yeah, okay, the Democrats win in 2024, but in the long run, the Republican Party plays the role of the Whig Party in the 1800s and just goes fucking memory holes. And then you have the Patriot Party led by Ron DeSantis in 2028 running against an incumbent, less likable Kamala Harris. I think we know what the future is going to look like. At least we have a good idea, because everything is pointing down the path of populism, and its detractors are just sad individuals right now. If you're on Twitter, there's two accounts that you should be following right now. Biden voters posting their L's online and neocons posting their L's online. If you want proof positive that these people are having second thoughts about literally everything. And it's not from the same accounts over and over again. It's not like those neocons out there that are trying to take back that. Like black people are trying to take back the N-word, and like, neocon is the N-word for white people. Very funny. Trying to say that populism is toxic. Don't make me laugh, losers. It sucks to suck, but you don't have to spread it around. It's better to back a winner than to be a loser. And that's why this will be very interesting. If the speech, I'll probably cover it, definitely, has any sort of hints, and knowing Trump, there are going to be some hints as to the future. Nothing outright said, because he doesn't want to close off any options. But if it's leaning down the path of, yeah, 2024 is looking very good, everything's looking pretty bright, we're just going to be focusing on 2022, making sure our candidates get in there, and we're going to flip the House, take back the Senate. If it's shit like that, then yeah, you know where this path is going, and there wouldn't be any reason for him to be speaking at that if that wasn't the type of rhetoric to expect. So yeah, Kamala Harris is trying to lay the groundwork, and she knows a thing or two about laying on an expedited timeline. And T-Money will be back in a day better than a week. You'll love to see it. Thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.